He's got an interesting Harvard Law School background, and when he founded Reputation Defender in 2006, he had the belief that citizens have the right to control and to protect their online reputation and privacy. So he's out there not only providing some technology dead on to the debate that we discussed today, but is going to give us a bit more of a big picture perspective. And so I ask you to join me in welcoming Michael. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Thank you. Thank you. So is my mic, it's now on if I'm walking around? Okay, I have a wireless mic. Hello, thank you very much. This is totally excellent. Thanks especially to Microsoft for hosting us, and thanks to Microsoft for giving us this amazing data set. It is the dominant data set now in the field of online privacy and reputation. It clearly is more comprehensive than anything else we've seen, and it is very enlightening. One data point that was buried somewhere in the many pages of the sort of deep version of this indicated that 14%, I think it was off the top of my head, 14% of recruiters are looking in virtual worlds for information about candidates. Virtual worlds. That's really dorky. That's like, so I mean, they're really burrowing deep into the data sets that are available. So totally awesome data set. Also want to say just thanks and hello to Marshall Hancock, one of the great heroes of American Internet safety, a connector of business and educators and consumers. So very cool. I need to give you 20 seconds. First of all, I live in Palo Alto and I bike to work in Redwood City. This is the best dressed I am all year. So I brought my tie out, dusted off the suit. So let me give you 20 seconds on what Reputation Defender is, just to create some context in case it's not as well known as Microsoft, for example. We were founded in 2006. We have customers now in just over 40 countries. Our business is the business of privacy and reputation. We charge between $10 per month and $1,000 per year, forgive me, for individuals, and then we have higher rates for companies to protect reputation and privacy. We are intended to be a market-based solution to the problems that we are all talking about today around reputation and privacy. My discussion is intended to be a point of view about what questions we could be asking around privacy. And it's always both exciting and daunting to talk to a room of experts, and I think you are a room of experts on the topic of privacy. Quick survey. How many of you have a law background? This is Washington, D.C., after all. And how many of you talk about privacy at least once a day? Yeah, okay. You guys are really experts. Okay, so that's very exciting, and also you all have a point of view on the history of things and so forth. This is intended to be one such lens, and to offer hopefully some insights and some findings that are new. The talk will be a brief history of security and privacy, and I'm going to position privacy as the latest stage in a discussion, a technical discussion around security. I'm going to ask if we're asking the right questions. My point of view is so far, maybe today we are, but so far as a general commentating class, as a general public, we're often not yet asking the right questions around privacy. And also I'm going to ask, can we actually give consumers what they want? The most ingenious part of today's forum, I think, is that the hosts have acknowledged and demonstrated that reputation, online reputation, is an integral part of the privacy discussion. Our customers for 3 years have purchased products, one called My Reputation and another one called My Privacy. And when I started this company, I thought that these were two very distinct topics. Privacy is about kind of my personal information, and reputation is about how I look. Some customers think that's true, but what's interesting is that over the years we've found customers, the consumers who are actually paying for something, which is different from answering a survey in some ways. Customers actually voting with their dollars, they don't see a big distinction between reputation and privacy. And that was a major insight of this forum today, is that the reputation and privacy topics are very connected. Our consumers talk about my stuff. It's my stuff. Whether it's reputational or privacy or an orientation, it's just my stuff. They do see a distinction between social security numbers and other things. And they do see a distinction between credit card numbers and other things. And I think that's a function of the fact that identity theft is now enough in the public consciousness that they can differentiate Social Security numbers and credit card numbers from other stuff. But otherwise, it's just my stuff. It's my photos, it's my phone numbers, it's my discussion forum content, it's my social networking content, etc. So here's one way to position the narrative that will set us up for today. You might say, in the field of Internet security, there have been three phases. Phase one, the early to mid-'90s, the Internet was basically for computer people. Those of us who were online at that time were few in number, and the threats that arose were to machines, switches, and nodes. This gave rise to an enormous industry, probably $100 billion or more in antivirus, basically. It's a giant category you might call antivirus. Phase two was the late 90s, early 2000s, the rise of e-commerce, Amazon, eBay, buying and selling on the Internet, including by and for consumers. This gave rise to a lot of financial transactions and threats to financial transactions, and this gave rise to another $100 or $200 billion industry protecting financial transactions, credit card payments, and encryption. Phase three of the Internet in this narrative of security is the late 2000s, early 2010s, when your entire life is on the web. We live, work, and date on and through the Internet, and no one's yet protecting us. So what our kind of point of view as a company is that there is going to be a rise in an industry around security and privacy in the context of security. Also, privacy, of course, had some stages, a brief history of time, no surprises, some of the same kind of discussion in the previous very excellent panel. The initial orientation of privacy, at least in America and Anglo-American law, has been protecting us against the government. This is an old idea from Magna Carta to the Constitution, but basically the idea has been government is the potential threat, and we want to protect ourselves as individuals against invasion of privacy by the government. Phase two, there's a perception that that big companies could become a kind of big brother or medium-sized brother. Sometimes this perception is entirely unjustified. Sometimes it is justified. And sometimes the big companies that we're talking about are not necessarily the actors themselves. We know the story, of course, of Yahoo in China. We know the story, of course, of AT&T and the NSA. We know the story of Google in China. Individuals and consumers are expressing concern and worry that their privacy might be implicated or somehow exposed by companies inadvertently or on purpose. That's a photo of Robert Bork. I bet you didn't expect me to show you a photo of Robert Bork. I did not expect to show you a photo of Robert Bork. But this phase of privacy kind of started with the Bork hearings when if you remember, his video rentals history was leaked to the press. Do you remember that? And he said very famously that you have a right to privacy on certain topics only if Congress says so, and then Congress passed a law protecting your video rentals history. And what's an interesting artifact of this kind of second phase of privacy is that your video rental history has more protection than almost anything else about you, which is a kind of odd thing. Anyway, however we feel about Robert Bork, it's just an interesting moment. And then we might be in a kind of stage three of privacy, the rise of the little brothers. And the little brothers can be companies, or they can be individuals, people and companies who have a lot of information about you, often in segments. So there are photos on a photo sharing site. There's something about your sports interest on your sports sharing site. There's your music video interest on your music video site, and so forth. Taken together, these can form a very interesting picture, as we saw with the recent Netflix litigation. A woman was worried about being outed inadvertently by the sharing of information about video rentals, ironically, by Netflix. Taken together, these can paint a very interesting picture. And not all of us understand when we sign up for some of these websites, and not all of us sign up for them, importantly. Save that topic. Not all of us opt in. Some of us are worried that some consumers are worried that there's a kind of proliferation of little brothers and that the cat's out of the bag. And the solution set to the previous sites of privacy around the Magna Carta, the Constitution, maybe legislation, litigation, there's no real identified solutions yet to this little brothers phase. Indeed, the solutions so far have been more in the category of reactions than solutions. Reaction one, panic. Head for the hills, worry about everything. Consumers feel under the gun. They feel invaded. I'm not calling Twitter and AOL here to the carpet specifically. Those are both companies run by very conscientious people. I'm just calling to memory the data leak in 2006 when AOL shared, I think it was something like 20